Good morning, all. We have been covering the input tax credit topic under GST. And in the previous sessions, we talked about the ITC, that what are the eligibility criteria, what are the conditions for ITC, how we can reversal of the ITC we have considered. Then in the case of non-payment, then we were talking about the apportionment, and in the previous session we talked about the apportionment of ITC under section 17 subsection 1, 2 and 3. Now we will be taking up subsection 4 and 5. So let us take up subsection 4. So before proceeding further with the subsection 4, let me discuss with you that what subsection 1, 2 and 3 we have talked about. Then we'll continue with this subsection 4. So in subsection, we talked about the business and non-business activities, that if the supplies are being used for the business activity as well as for any other purposes, then in that case, the ITC will be apportioned in the manner that the ITC will be claimable for the activities that has been covered for the business activities only, or the goods or the services that we have used for the business purposes. The ITC can be claimed proportionately for that portion only. There will be no ITC for the goods or the services that we have used for non-business purposes. Then in subsection 2, we talked about the taxable and non-taxable supplies, or you can say the exempt supplies, the goods and the services which are used by the registered person for effecting the taxable supplies as well as the exempt supplies. Then in that case, the ITC will be proportionately divided between the taxable and the exempt supplies, and the ITC can be claimed only for the supplies which are taxable um, under GST. So this taxable supplies in itself will include the zero rated supplies, and exempt supplies here will include the goods which are exempt from taxes, or you can say the goods which are non-taxable, or we can say the goods for which the reverse charge mechanism basis tax is being paid. Then subsection 3 talked about the exempt supplies, what are included under exempt supplies, and we have studied that reverse charge, then transaction in security, sale of land, sale of building, these all will be considered as exempt supply, and also the nil rate of supply. Then next it comes the subsection 4. Under subsection 4, there is talk about the banking sector. Like it says, subsection 4, section 17, subsection 4, input tax credit for the banking sector. Now, in this case, you can see two options are available under this subsection. A banking company or a financial institution, including a non-banking financial company, just more we call it as NBFCs. So here we are talking about a banking company or a financial institution, including NBFCs, which are engaged in supplying services by way of accepting deposits, extending loans, or advances, shall have the option to either. So this part clearly specifies that what we are talking about is the banking company or the financial institutions, which includes the NBFCs, which means that the institutes which are engaged in supplying services, or you can say services in the sense that they are accepting the deposits, they are extending loans or advances. For these type of institutes, there are two options available. First option is that comply with the provisions of section 17 subsection 2. Section 17 subsection 2, as we have right now had a brief revision, that section 17 subsection 2 was talking about the exempt supplies and the taxable supplies. So the financial institutes who falls under this category, they have to decide out of two options. Two options is, one is, out of the two options, one is that they have to comply with the provisions of section 17 subsection 2, which simply says that they can avail the ITC for the you can say for the services which are used for the taxable supplies, for affecting the taxable supplies, and any sort of services that are used for exempt supplies, the banks or the financial institutes are not eligible to claim ITC for such type of services used for exempt supplies, right? So first is this option, or avail every month on amount equal to 50% of the available ITC on inputs, capital goods, and input services in that month. Or the second option is that whatever is the ITC available, out of that ITC, the bank or the financial institute can claim outrightly 50% of the ITC. So whatever is the ITC amount available with the financial institutes, they can claim straight away 50% of the ITC. So the two options that are there with the banking institutes or the financial institutes are, first, they can comply with the provisions of section 17 subsection 2, where it has been clearly given that the services, goods or the services which are used for the taxable supplies and the goods and services used for the exempt supplies, the ITC will be apportioned in that manner only, as we have discussed in the previous session also in detail. Other option is that whatever is the ITC available with the banking institute or the financial institute, they can claim 50% of the total ITC available. So these are the two options, and out of these two options, it is necessary for such type of institutes to opt any one option, and the option which has been opted will not be able to be withdrawn during the remaining part of the year. Like once you have selected option 1 or the option 2, then you have to go with that option throughout the year. So these are the two options through which the banking company or the financial institute can claim their ITC. Then moving ahead with same point, it says availability of 100% of total credit if the supplies are made from one registered person to another registered person having the same permanent account number. That means that if there is the supplies and that supply is moving from one registered person to the other registered person, but both the persons are registered under the same, or you can say are having the same PAN number. So if in case the two persons between which the supplies are going on are being supplied goods or the services, whatever, and they bear the same PAN, then under that situation, the ITC can be claimed 100%. This is the second situation. This is the second point. So first point was this, that where we were discussing that the banking institute or the financial institute, they have to select either first point here or the second point here. So this is the first point which is applicable for such institutes. Then second point, it says that if the banking institutions or financial institutions, they are supplying goods or the services from one registered person to the other registered person, and they both have the same PAN number, it might be possible that one office, there is one company for which you have two different offices, two different branches, and you have got themselves registered with two different registration numbers. Like you have got the registration of the two offices under two different registration numbers, but you are paying tax PAN, their PAN is same, permanent account number is the same. So if you are moving goods or the services from one office to the other office, then in that case you are eligible to get 100% tax credit. Then next it says the credit of tax paid for non-business purposes and items mentioned under section 17 subsection 5, block credits cannot be availed. Now the next subsection talks about, subsection 4 talks about basically the credit of tax paid for non-business purposes And like any of the you can say taxes that we are paying for the block credits, for that block credits the ITC is not available. Now in the case of block credits, we simply define the block credits as the this is under section 17, we have defined block credits as the credit, or you can say the capital goods or the goods or the services for which you are not able to claim the ITC. So let's take up the block credits here. Now you can see block credits has been defined under section 17, subsection 5, which says that it gives a detailed list of the specific goods and services in respect of which input tax credit is not available, irrespective of their use in business. So these block credits, that simply means that these are the goods or the services which are used in the business, but the business is not able to claim the ITC for such block, for such you can say assets, or for some such goods or the services. So that is why we call it as a block credit, because it is blocking the input tax credit. So these are the list of goods or the services which are not giving ITC to the business. Now, as you can see here under the second point, input goods, input services, and capital goods may be used by the business for the following purposes. I just say that whatever input goods or the services or the capital goods that you have purchased for the business, they might be used for any of these five uses. It can be used for the business purposes, it can be used for personal purposes, it can be used for taxable supplies, it can be used for zero rated supplies, or it can be used for exempt supplies. So any of the input goods or input services, or you can say capital goods that are being purchased in the business are used for any of these five uses. So if the input goods, input services, and capital goods, if these things are used in the business for the business purposes, for the taxable supplies, and for zero rated supplies, then your ITC can be claimable on such supplies. If the business assets are being used for personal purposes or for the exempt supplies, this you can say this good or input services or the capital goods will not be efficient enough to claim for ITC. As you can see under point 3, it has been written that point 1, 3, and 4 are eligible for ITC, whereas point 2 and 5 are not. So now you can say here कि whatever business, whatever input goods or input services or the capital goods you are using for the business purposes, for the taxable supplies purposes, or for the zero rated supplies purposes, these all will give you the ITC benefit. But if the same asset are used for the personal purpose or for the exempt supply, they will not be used um, uh, as the asset or the goods or the services for the ITC purpose. Now, certain examples I have taken here, like ITC cannot be claimed on motor vehicles and other convenience except when they are used for further supplies of such vehicles and conveniences or resale purpose or transportation of passengers, just say like for running a taxi or imparting training on driving, flying, and navigating such vehicles and conveniences or transportation of goods. Now, see, when you are reading out these points, you can very well see here that if the asset, if the motor vehicles or conveniences, they are being used for the business purposes. Business purpose in the sense, I have used the car for running as a taxi. I have purchased car for resale purpose. I have purchased a motor vehicle for giving training for driving, like for any other purpose that is being used in the business, like for transportation of goods. Like I have purchased a vehicle which is used for transporting goods from one premise to the other premise, or from one location to the other location within the factory only. Then in that case, In that case, ITC can be claimable. But if any other use of motor vehicle I am making, like I have purchased a car and that car I am using for myself to commute from my house to the office, for that you cannot claim ITC. But in the same way, if you have purchased a vehicle and it is being used for transporting the employees from their house to the office place, then that is a you can say asset which is used as the IT used for the ITC purpose. So I hope you are able to get the point that if any case motor vehicles and conveniences, they are not liable for ITC. But if they are being used for resale purpose, they are being used for transporting the passengers, they in the form of taxi, or they are used for giving any sort of services like making training for the driving, flying, or navigating such vehicles, or for the transportation of goods, or for the business purposes, then in that case, these motor vehicles and conveniences will be used for the you can say for the purpose of taking ITC. Then vessels and aircraft, except when they are used for, here also the same concept is being applied, that vessels and aircrafts are not eligible for ITC. But if they are used for conveniences, if they are used for resale purposes in the business, if they are used for transportation of passengers, they are used for imparting training, etc. If they are used for transportation of goods, then these vessels and aircrafts will be eligible for getting your ITC. So, in the same way, there are many other assets, and you can say the import of, sorry, there are input goods or the input services which are used for the business for business purposes, and also there are certain you can say services available which are, if not used for business purposes, then they will not be considered under ITC. Like, as you can read out the points here, ITC will not be available on supply of food and beverages and services like catering, beauty treatment, health services, cosmetic and plastic surgery, unless all these are used as an inward supply for making an outward supply of the same category of goods or services, or both, or provided in a bundled fashion as a composite of mixed supply. Now, these all, whatever is written under this point, if they are being provided to the employees, let's say for their betterment, for their better services, then these will not be considered as the ITC for claiming ITC. But if these all services are used for further providing the business, like these all are the inward supply for making an outward supply, then in that case, that will be considered for the ITC. The next point, it says ITC will not be allowed on tax paid for membership of club, health and fitness center under any circumstances. Like if the company provides you for the membership of club, health and fitness, etc., that will not be considered as a claimable ITC. You cannot claim ITC for such services if you have provided to your employees. Then ITC on tax paid on travel benefits extended to employees for a vacation or home travel concession is not allowed. If you provide such services to your employees, these will not be eligible for ITC. So I hope you are a bit clear about like what all things that can be claimable for ITC, what all things that cannot be claimable for ITC. Like specifically if you are using any good or the services for your business purpose, not for your personal purpose, or any goods or the services or capital goods are used specifically for promoting the business in the course of business, in the furtherance of business, then only the ITC will be claimable. Otherwise, it will not be claimable. So this is all we have covered under your block credits. Now, as further you can see here, ITC not available to a registered person for the tax paid on the inward supply of works contract. Works contract, this point I'll explain you later because works contract we haven't talked about yet. Then next it says goods or the services or both on which tax has been paid under section 10. Any goods and services for which tax has been paid under section 10 will be exempt under ITC. Section 10, you all know very well, it is the composition scheme. Then goods or services are both received by a non-resident taxable person except on goods imported by him. So any goods or services are both received by a non-resident taxable person. On such cases, we cannot claim ITC except if goods have been imported by him. If the goods have been uh, imported by the non-resident, then in that case you can claim ITC. Then you can see here there are certain other you can say ITC purposes, exceptions are there. Like goods or services are both used for personal consumption, as you all know. Goods are stolen, destroyed, written off, disposed of by way of gift or free samples. On such goods you cannot claim ITC. ITC shall not be available to a registered person on any tax paid by provisions under section 74, 129 and 130. Section 74 is tax payable due to evasion of tax, then detention, seizure and release of goods and conveniences and levy of penalty, and 130 confiscation of goods or conveniences and levy of penalty. Under all these three sections, if the situation falls for any specific goods or the services or both, then in that case ITC will not be available. So this is it for the ITC under section 17, subsection 5. So we have studied what all are the exceptions where the ITC cannot be claimed. Thank you all.